Welcome to my new top 20 PSVR2 games list for 2024. We now have over 300 games available on the PlayStation Store. In my opinion, these games right now are the games that show you the very best of what the headset is capable of and will give you the most enjoyment. So please leave a like if you enjoy the list and be subscribed for more VR content. At number 20 we have the 7th Guest VR, which is now one of my all-time favourite VR puzzlers. Featuring 3D motion capture to really tell the story in a way no other VR game ever has, you get to explore a really creepy mansion using a magic lamp that, when turned on, shows you the past in real time. It's a fantastic thing to witness in VR and never gets old. The puzzles are highly detailed and challenging, so I definitely highly recommend this one. At number 19 we have the Light Brigade. You are humanity's last line of defence and you must journey through a procedurally generated battleground as many times as it takes to free the souls of the fallen trapped within. Due to some updates throughout the year, you now have lots of loadouts featuring weapons such as a rifle, shotgun, an SMG, a revolver, a bow and much more, and each class has a unique player perk. The Light Brigade sets itself apart from many other first-person shooter roguelites simply because it ticks so many boxes all at once, with a very beautiful cel-shaded art style, satisfying bosses combined with great music and excellent weapons. At number 18 we have Arizona Sunshine 2, which is a fantastic sequel to one of the most well-known zombie games ever in VR, which also got a remake earlier this year. For me, it's literally an upgrade in every single way to the original, especially with the inclusion of a canine companion called Buddy, and he makes this game kind of special because he can attack zombies, collect items, and it makes the single player experience really quite unique. The variety of zombies is really cool and the sheer amount of them inside the headset, especially on the hardest difficulty, is pretty amazing to witness. If you're looking for quite a serious zombie survival experience, I would look elsewhere, but if you're looking for a fun apocalypse style FPS that doesn't take itself too seriously, plus it's really good in co-op, this is an excellent choice. At number 17 we have Breaches, which is a fantastic 5v5 VR FPS that is pretty much the Rainbow Six of VR right now. You get to play as two factions: the Enforcers, whose job is to stop the Revolters by disarming bombs, because tactical infiltration in VR is a real buzz, and Breaches captures this feeling completely. If you get the right team, planning your entry and working together and executing a plan is an amazing feeling. And speaking of feeling, this game also has bHaptic support, and I have a bHaptics PSVR2 video on the channel if you want to see that in action. At number 16 we have Hello Games' legendary No Man's Sky, and after many years of progress with the VR version on PSVR2, it now looks truly stunning, mainly thanks to using eye tracking, dynamic foveated rendering, and the brand new Pro patch makes everything super crisp and detailed, and the colours of the PSVR2 OLED panel really make your jaw drop. Even if you have a top spec PC, I would argue this is the very best version and the best way to play No Man's Sky in VR right now. At number 15 we have Legendary Tales, and it's quite possibly the most physical game I've played on PSVR2, and if you haven't played something like Boneworks or Blade and Sorcery, that's the sort of mechanics you're going to be dealing with. It also has 4-player co-op, which completely changes the dynamic of the game. As a testament to how physical this was, I twisted my ankle during my review, and I also burnt over 2,000 calories when I played it for my review in one day. It's got one of the best parrying systems in VR, which really requires some force to smash your opponent's back. All in all, it's a great game, and there's also bHaptic support for this title too, and you'll find gameplay of that in the same video alongside Breaches. At number 14 we have nDream's Synapse, which is easily the second best title the studio have ever made. Unfortunately, it is kind of short and a little repetitive, but no other game on this list demos the technology found inside the PSVR2 headset like this one. The telekinesis ability is the defining power of Synapse, due to using the PSVR2's eye tracking, and it gives you a sensational feeling of power and control you simply won't be able to experience in any other way but VR and PSVR2. You can simply select items in the world by using your eyes, use the environment for cover, and the guns feel awesome. When you experience all of this in combination with the speed of the game, it's a pretty unforgettable experience. At number 13 we have Horizon Call of the Mountain, and even though this was a launch title, it still shows the incredible graphics PS5 and PSVR2 is capable of. We are talking top spec PC imagery. Even though the gameplay can feel a little linear and 80% of the game is actually climbing, it's a truly fantastic journey into the world of Horizon and shouldn't be missed by anyone. If you haven't picked up a PSVR2, I would highly recommend you grab the bundle with this game. At number 12 we have The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapters 1 and 2 from Skydances Games, and it is one of the best zombie survival games ever made in VR. It's got a lengthy campaign, fantastic real stabbing physics, a meaty chainsaw, and hours of gameplay, and the PSVR2 versions of this game visually stand up above all other platforms. Seriously, one of my favourite zombie games of all time. At number 11 we have Madison VR, and what I'm about to say I've never really said about a VR game before, and that's that Madison VR should come with a health warning, because in all honesty, this gave me a new level of fear in VR. Even though Madison VR had many delays, I personally think the game looks really nice, with the smooth native 90Hz and the really deep blanks of the headset just make this game so immersive on PSVR2. It's got a fantastic atmosphere, and the sound design is really clever. Madison is now one of my favourite pure horror VR titles, and even though there is no action in the game and you're only armed with a camera that you have to take photos with to trigger certain events, it's left an impression on me I don't think I'll ever forget for a long time to come. At number 10 we have Pavlov, purely for the amount of time I've spent in this game online, especially on PSVR2, with a huge variety of realistic weapons, game modes such as Search and Destroy, which feels exactly like Counter-Strike from VR, the famous TT mode, Prop Hunt, and the Hide made Pavlov a must-buy for all PSVR2 owners. Plus, throughout the year, the developers have dropped new levels, and I highly suggest you pick this one up. At number 9 we have Red Matter 2, which takes place during a dystopian Cold War. You'll learn the story of people trapped that fight and rebel to do the right thing. This game will take you on a fantastic journey to the far reaches of the solar system, and will make you question your entire reality as you face the Red Matter. This is a truly incredible graphical showpiece of what PSVR2 is capable of, and when you see this running at the highest resolution alongside 120 frames native, it looks simply stunning in the headset. At number 8 we have the very popular and well-known single-player survival extraction shooter called Into the Radius, which has now been brilliantly ported to the PSVR2, and even though in terms of detail it may look dated, especially in comparison to the sequel Into the Radius 2, it runs incredibly smooth and looks pin sharp on PSVR2. In terms of the weapons, the deadly and unpredictable environment, plus the ton of missions you can take on, this will keep you hooked for hours. Be warned, it can be pretty hardcore, but I personally love it for that reason, and most people who play it always recommend it afterwards. At number 7 we have Behemoth, which takes a stab at bringing Shadow of the Colossus to VR. The main game sees you as a cursed warrior who also has special abilities. You'll be fighting waves of enemies featuring some very physical and brutal combat, along with some epic and unforgettable Behemoth fights. It's not the perfect game, and it did have some launch issues, but there's seriously nothing else like it in VR. The grapple mechanics are excellent, it's pretty immersive, and it has some collectibles that take the player away from what would be normally quite a linear game, and it looks beautiful on PSVR2. At number 6 we have Subside. Now most people go into this thinking it's just a swimming simulator, but while you're doing some swimming you'll find coins, holographic discs that unlock other levels, squeaky toys that unlock special events like swimming with 2 beautiful whales and a fantastic shark experience, which will be great for newcomers to VR to experience over the Christmas holidays, and you'll also find chests to unlock extra scuba diving gear, and every level is stunning with some beautiful environments. If you're unsure on this title for some reason, there is a demo available right now which I highly recommend you try, because this game currently stands as one of the big visual wow moments most players will have on PSVR2. At number 5 we have Metro Awakening, which I believe is a must play for all fans of the Metro series. The story is really compelling, and it has a decent gameplay length of around 8 hours. The atmosphere is really compelling too. It's full of tense moments, and little things like wiping moisture from your gas mask using your hands was a really special moment for me. The weapons all feel great, especially reloading the shotgun. The enemies pose a good threat, especially the lurkers, which can be really unpredictable, and some parts of the game feature mutant spiders that jump at you, grab hold of your face, and even walk around your head, which makes great use of the PSVR2's headset haptics. This part was so immersive and so scary for some players that Vertigo Games added an arachnophobia mode to remove the spiders from the game, and I completely get it because you can actually feel them when they jump on your hands. The music in Metro may also be some of the best I've heard in a VR game, and the graphics are superb. At number 4 we have Alien Rogue Incursion from Survios, which is the newest title to join this list, and even though I didn't think it ended up being quite as highly polished as I had hoped, and it ended up being more of a shooter than a suspenseful survival experience, stepping into the world of Alien in VR is pretty unforgettable. The weapons feel great, and the PSVR2 triggers and headset haptics are put to great use. The aliens look awesome and can be pretty unpredictable in terms of how they approach you, using vents and gaps in the 80s sci-fi-like corridors of the research facility you'll be exploring. Personally, I absolutely loved playing this, and if you're a fan of the franchise, I would highly recommend it. At number 3 we have Resident Evil 8 from from Capcom, and they really put the work in to deliver what can only be described as one of the best survival horror experiences I've had to date. Once you play Resident Evil 8 in VR, you'll never want to go back to the flat screen. It has some really cool VR only mechanics, and the weapons feel unbelievably great, especially the shotgun, and it also looks absolutely fantastic in the headset. At number 2 we have Gran Turismo 7, and it's still the best VR racing experience I've ever had in VR. The sense of speed and the attention to detail push this game way above any other VR racer currently available. And if you already play GT7 on a flat screen, when you get to see your car library in VR for the first time, it's a really special moment due to the scale and the ability to actually sit in the cars and appreciate all the detail this game has to offer in a completely new way. It doesn't matter how many times you put on the headset, you will always be impressed by GT7 on PSVR2, and the recent Pro patch makes it even better for those of you who struggle with reprojection. You can also download My First Gran Turismo for free, which has VR support. And finally, we have at number 1 Resident Evil 4 Remake, and this probably comes as no surprise for most of the PSVR2 community, but as someone who's been playing variations of Resident Evil 4 since the GameCube, Resident Evil 4 Remake is one of the best remakes of all time in gaming, and it's made even better thanks to VR. It's an entirely new experience due to playing it from a first-person perspective. The haptics are nothing short of fantastic, with adaptive triggers making the guns feel incredibly satisfying to shoot, and it's got hours of gameplay. So there we have our list for 2024. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video to help the channel grow, and please subscribe if you want more VR content. Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you all in the new year.